From having technical difficulties on stage to basically being the most disappointing All-Star weekend ever. Here are some of the worst moments from the NBA All-Star weekend this year. Starting off with one of the most sus things to take place in recent years, the mic cutoff. When you think of All-Star and the NBA, there's only one thing that comes to your mind, and that's money. Because the NBA is already like a super rich sports organization, right? And if you've got the means to host something as extra as an All-Star weekend every year, then I guess spending some bucks for a good sound system should be a no-brainer, right? Wrong. Because during the game opening, when Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny Smith, and Charles Barkley went on the stage, their mics were weirdly cut off.
You all right? Yes. Hey, what the hell you drinking? No, man, it's my mic. I got a delay. No,
yeah,
that's you.
always blame it on the equipment, Chuck.
I want to thank Patron.
Now that's not a good look for the tech guys, and certainly not for the NBA either. And because of this, Twitter broke out into a frenzy. For good reason too. Because whoever was doing that audio at the start of the whole thing, they gotta explain themselves. Like even concerts undergo sound checks. So the least these guys could have done is run a mic check. Testing 1, 2, 3? Yeah, what happened to that? Instead, we got TNT audio booming over these guys as they talked. Well, more like muffled. Because no one could understand them. But there's a lot more crazy stuff that happened this weekend, and it's not a surprise that fans found this year's All-Star weekend disappointing. Because there was no LeBron frickin' James. Okay, sure, it's not the worst moment to happen, but it's pretty much up there. I mean, we were all pretty pumped to celebrate the Lakers superstar becoming the biggest winner of the All-Star game. And then, just like that, we all found out that he would not play the second half. In fact, the whole build-up to this weekend had created so much hype. Like on one hand, you had Jay-Z recording a lengthy intro to introduce the King at the exhibition. And on the other hand, you had James and his stellar numbers ready to take on the MVP award again. I mean, the stage was pretty much all set for him. Even his friend and former teammate Dwayne Wade had praised him during a halftime ceremony over his record as an all-time leading scorer. So for him to lead the team this weekend was definitely something everyone was looking forward to. However, just when the third quarter came around, the NBA announced that James would no longer be taking part moving on. And the reason behind that was basically LeBron injured himself when he jammed his fingers on the rim while chasing down a block during the first half. And of course, considering how even paper cuts are mad painful, imagine bruising your fingers like that. That too, your shooting hand. Yeah, ouch, LeBron. Guess you really can't use those magic hands now. And while the all-time leading scorer is one heck of a fighter, he told everyone that he had to take the rest of the night off due to precautionary reasons. I mean, to be fair, he did stay on the court for like an extra 6 minutes even after injuring his hand. And considering how he's still nursing a left foot injury, gotta give mad props to him for still having a fighting spirit. Even though the game resembled more like a shooting practice anyway. Yeah, don't come at me for this. But you've got to admit, this year's All-Star game was pretty much the worst basketball game ever played. And even Michael Malone agrees. Okay, sure, his team lost and all, but seeing how the entire game felt like a practice instead of like a proper competitive game. I guess it's fair to say that the All-Stars have lost their touch. I mean, when you gather the cream of the crop, you kind of expect some nail-biting action in there. But with LeBron out, it was pretty hard to bounce back. Sure, Joel Embiid gave it his all, despite being injured, and even Kyrie Irving was trying to put on a show for the fans. But apparently it was a tough game to sit through, because you see, the whole traditional All-Star game is kind of getting boring, and it needs tons of sprucing up now. Even fans on Twitter seem to agree as well. Plus, Sam Quinn from CBS proposed a really great idea on Twitter. He said, basically, instead of having 2 teams, why don't we have more captains? Pick teams of 5 and have a round-robin sort of tournament with games to 21. Won't that be much more exciting? I mean, yeah, Team LeBron and Team Giannis was something we all look forward to as well. But it seems like the NBA stopped caring about the league as a concept, and now it's more of like a brand war, which I guess makes it a lot more complicated than they already are. But it's really not all that shocking. What's definitely something to take note of, however, is how LeBron James casually dropped some hints about his future during the All-Star game. Yeah, as if sitting through that half-hearted game wasn't torture enough, the Lakers star casually dropped some truth bombs. And I'd be lying if I said that it took everything in me to restrict myself. Sure, he's taking a bit of a timeout for now, but it's LeBron James. It's only just a tiny bump in the road for him, right? Well, I guess not if he's talking about slowing down now. While playing his 19th NBA All-Star game, he candidly opened up about his future plans and said that he's got to slow it down a bit and give it a couple more years.
I got ball, Joe. I got to slow down. Done. A couple more years now.
I don't know about you guys, but if that's any indication, the man's definitely talking about handing up those shoes. But knowing him and the kind of legacy he wants to leave behind, I really don't think he's going to retire anytime soon, though. He's currently tied with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most of any player in history. And I know he's going to try and one-up Jabbar on that one. So there's really no saying if he's going to walk off the court once and for all now. His recent injury, though, might have been a little setback, but it's not going to completely turn him away from fulfilling his legacy. And speaking of setbacks, Charles Barkley might have faced one of his own, but that doesn't mean he's open to any jokes about it. You see, during TNT's pregame show, Charles didn't quite enunciate the names correctly, and of course it didn't go unnoticed either. In fact, Shaquille O'Neal even asked him why he sounds like he was drunk, and that didn't sit well with Barkley. Truth be told, the whole situation just seemed like a roast between the Hall of Famers instead. And I guess that's also where the All-Star game also lost its charm. Well, that and those inflatable mascots. Oh yeah, these guys definitely stole a bunch of scenes here and there. And listen, sure, mascots are cute, and they're the center of all things spirited in games. But my God, when that Houston Rockets bear fake farted into a microphone and ran to the locker room as if pretending they'd let one slip, yeah, that was probably the worst thing to come out of the entire weekend. Forget LeBron's injury or potential retirement. Heck, I'm even willing to ignore the format issues. But that bear? Yeah, we gotta do something about those mascots. And that was all for the worst moments to happen at the recent NBA All-Star Weekend.